It's a well-known fact that businesses are fleeing the United States, and have been for decades. The country can't seem to incentivize businesses to keep their businesses in the US, or even start new ones here. This is a problem with all developed countries, but the United States seems to have a special way of solving it in the form of doing nothing at all. The US government continues to charge insanely high tax rates compared to the rest of the Western world. The kicker is that even with all this extra stolen money, the United States still can't seem to settle its enormous debts. It's without a doubt that those most affected by this gross incompetence are the unskilled and the uneducated. The majority of US manufacturing and call center positions have been outsourced to countries like India, Vietnam, and other poorer rising stars on the international stage. And the companies who have stayed in the US have automated these jobs heavily to increase profits to please shareholders and maintain economic growth. With manufacturing gone, many turn to jobs in transportation. But the transportation market is also being disrupted. Many decent or well-paying taxi drivers lost their jobs after the introduction of ride-sharing services like Uber and Lyft. For more on that, you can check out the video I made about ride-sharing. The link will be in the description. But taxi driving isn't the only transportation job, there's also truck driving. Well, now companies are looking at automating that too. Normally, this would leave labor which can't possibly be outsourced. But in the case of the US, rampant illegal immigration has ruined employment opportunities in the manual labor sector as well. Many, perhaps the majority, of manual labor jobs like landscaping, construction, and roofing are done by illegal immigrants from Mexico who have been taken advantage of by business owners trying to stretch their dollar. Damn near every single unskilled labor sector has been disrupted in recent years. Where does this leave Americans who either can't afford higher education or simply aren't at the intelligence level needed to perform these kinds of jobs? Well, it's easy and convenient to tell coal miners to learn to code, but it's not realistic to expect a man who has based his entire life around low-skilled labor to suddenly go back to school, especially to learn a complicated field like computer science. This problem is important and deserves your attention, because when there's a surplus of uneducated, unskilled workers in a society, crime rates and poverty inevitably go up. People will do whatever it takes to provide for their families. Whether they have to steal or sell drugs in order to do it wouldn't matter to them after a certain point. It's basic human psychology to do whatever it takes to survive and to be a provider. We could raise taxes and allow these people to live on welfare, but that would be a temporary solution. Contributing nothing to society and doing nothing to be a provider leads to depression. It's a truly miserable existence when you have no responsibility. This would also burden hardworking taxpayers, which are already over-encumbered with hellishly high tax rates. With so much at stake, we're forced to think of potential solutions. The solution most experts agree on is simply improving American education as an institution. We must prevent children from becoming uneducated adults, or at least from becoming adults who are unwilling to learn new skills. But this is easier said than done. So, how do we accomplish this goal? In the 1960s, NASA hired a scientist named George Land to develop a creativity test in order to place the best people in jobs that require problem-solving abilities. George Land, along with scientist Beth Jarman, invented a test that challenged people's divergent thinking abilities. This is the ability to solve problems while thinking outside the box. The test they developed was so simple that they decided to try it on children. The duo tested 1,600 children between the ages of 4 and 5. To their shock, they found that 98% of the children tested possessed a genius level of divergent thinking ability. This suggests that everyone is born with a similar level of intelligence. Of course, this would also mean that learning is more of nurture than nature. The same children were tested again 5 years later, and it was found that only 30% of those children still possessed a genius level of creative problem-solving skills. When the test was performed on the same children again at the age of 15, that number had dropped to just 12%. The adults who were tested only scored 2% on the test. This begs the question, what is killing people's creativity as they grow up? The answer should be obvious. It's the assembly line we call education. Children are taught what to think rather than how to think. This is even true from a political perspective, with most educational institutions acting as leftist indoctrination camps. The solution to solving unemployment among the lower classes of American society is to start from square one. We must change how we teach our children. We must make them problem solvers. With low-skilled job opportunities quickly becoming extinct in this country, we must move away from our traditional model of assembly line education. Creative problem solving needs to be a main focus of American education. Only then will our citizens be competitive, even within their own country. Creativity is the force that pushes us to question what we think, believe, and what others say. Let's end the educational assembly line and start thinking for ourselves. Till next time, I'm Ed All.